October 10th,
December
Rachel
10th.
Alexander. December 10th, what year is it? What day is it? The week is it? What
Whole
quarter are
year's
we
been like
in?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those months, so for sure. Ends with an One of the months ends with an But Rachel, how are you doing today? Thanks for being here.
You know what? I don't have a cold, and that's the first time all month I can say that. So,
Let's
I'll
go.
yeah, I'll
We're
take
making
it.
it happen. There's nasty bugs going out right now. They're just getting passed around all the kids at schools, and they get to bring them home to us, which is always
Hmm.
fun. The funnest
Yeah.
part of being a parent.
How you doing?
So, I'm doing good. Basketball season's in full swing. Having fun with that. I feel like I've been I was always been like the fun coach, and this year I feel like I'm just like, we need to get this figured out. Let's just, this is serious basketball business here. So, but I enjoy coaching youth sports. It's a lot of fun. I try to do it as often as I can.
Nice.
So we got that going. Got a big tournament this weekend at
Ooh.
sponsored by Chuck E. Cheese, the Capital City Classic. They have a high school tournament, and then there's like a fourth grade through eighth grade tournament this weekend as well. And
Oh,
the youth sports tournaments, they're a pretty big draw. Like we get a lot of people from out of town staying in our hotels, eating at our restaurants, paying for parking downtown. So we kind of get all of it. I think it is good for our
just
local
opening
economy.
up with the most controversial issue in Salem. Right there.
Boom.
Boom.
Yes, the paid parking, people love it. I did a couple like, let's be optimistic about paid parking posts early and got roasted. People are like, are you really supporting this? What is wrong with you? So we'll see long term if it's a good
Yeah.
thing, but I know
Yeah,
it's
I don't know.
definitely.
It's like, of course, like I don't love it because like it was free, but also I'm like, have you all ever been to a city? Like like name me a city where you don't pay to park downtown.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yes, and there's a reason. There's a reason.
Yeah.
I do like that the money's being reinvested. Like they have people power washing the sidewalks and like keeping it clean down there, which is super cool for the business owners and
Yeah.
people that are visiting.
Unless people think I've gone soft. Obviously, there's some stuff to watchdog to make sure that money gets spent and the double taxing of the business. We're on all that. Don't y'all worry.
Let's go. Salem Reporter is here, keeping us on our
Yeah.
toes.
Boom.
Uh, the new toy store that just opened is super cool as well.
Yeah. It's Subatomic Toys on Commercial Street. Just like if you are a nerdy 80s or 90s kid, like I am, I think it'll just speak to your soul. My reporter, Haley Cook, who's also a photographer, double threat, love her. She got some great pictures, and I was like editing, and then, I looked at the story after she posted it, and there's just this like Yoda statue that's staring into your soul, and I just lost it, cracking up for like 10 minutes in the office.
It is
Yeah.
a really cool thing they put together. I think there's a couple of different guys' collections, and then they're of course purchasing, as well to make sure they have. And the other thing is like people are buying stuff. I went back to buy some things, and like they were already gone. And
Oh, dang.
so I
Okay.
think that is
Yeah.
kind of like one of the cool things about it is like you don't know what's going to be there next time, and then if you see it, probably take your
You
chance
better
to grab
snap
it
it
because
up.
it could be gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's CJ Nelson and Tom Engen. And Tom's got some like history owning downtown, or not downtown, but just, owning vintage toy stores like way back in the day in Salem. This is like a whole history I didn't know about because but we used to have a store called Pop Culture on Lancaster in like the 90s and 2000s, which was before my time in Salem. But yeah, I got to go check it out. I haven't made it down yet. Looks super fun though.
So it is. It is a lot of fun. I went, did the video, then came back with my kids, and we looked around. So good times for sure. A couple of other things happened this week in city council. What's most important for you? Like we want to talk through it. Want to make sure we don't miss it.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of so last meeting of the year, so we're done with city council, y'all, till January. I know everyone's going to be really sad about that.
Crazy.
A lot of kind of miscellaneous stuff. I think, there was a housing code change, basically some tweaks to like try to make it easier with regulations to build more housing in Salem, which is something we really need. We haven't had time to get into that yet, but definitely on my list to kind of break that down in English, because I know zoning codes you say, and like everyone falls asleep, which is fair.
Yeah.
But that stuff does have a big impact on like what our city looks like. So there's that. There was a lot of commission board and appointments, which like ended up getting spicier than usual. Another thing on our list to get into, but one of the takeaways, because we had multiple people who got appointed to like multiple boards and commissions, and there was some discussion about that. But we could probably do a better job letting folks know when those things are open. But like part of the reason you see that is because people just don't apply. Like the city has conservatively like a bazillion different boards and commissions.
So many, yeah.
Use the technical term.
Yeah.
And like, these are the like, because often when things get to council, they kind of seem like a done deal. And I think if you watch meetings regularly, you'll see it's like, okay, like there's sometimes a feeling that council just rubber stamps stuff. But like the reason for that is because a lot of the hashing out and the nitty gritty and the discussion happens in these boards and committees that look at like parks, planning, whatever. So for folks who are like curious about how the city works or want to get involved, you see a lot of people who will just start with like, I'm going to run for office, which that's rad, but like this is kind of another avenue. So that's my little civic engagement PSA.
I love that.
If you're mad that like the same guy is on 3 boards, you too can apply to a board.
Yeah, be on all the boards with them. Yes. Nobody, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the idea of being on a board is always much nicer than actual working on a board. And like, wow, I'm doing all this stuff and not
Yeah.
getting paid for it. But people are stepping up and doing it and volunteering. So I
Doing
think there's
democracy is hard, man. You gotta like show up and be in boring meetings and like politely disagree with people, and that's just how we gotta do it.
you have to do a lot of rubbling in the audience as well for it to really work at
Yeah,
at its best.
yeah, but it's important, and um, so
I
that's
think
my
it would be
couple
fun to
things.
do a series where it's just how does Salem work, and it just like breaks down like how does the fire department work, how does like every like section of it, like
Yeah,
what are they responsible for, what do they own, and then nobody would ever listen or watch. So but
yeah.
I think some people would. I think there'd be people that are curious
I
and
think we need like the what is the how the bill becomes a law. That Schoolhouse Rock. We
yes,
need to like Schoolhouse
for
Rockify city
sure,
government.
a
Okay,
whole rap album, how city works.
educational rap flow. It's a whole thing.
Boom. Like
Um, oh boy. Yeah.
yes. What would your rap name be?
Oh Lord.
I'll leave
I
that.
mean, my roller derby name was Minority Whip when I was a skater for like 12 years,
Let's
which is a
go.
political reference, which people actually get in Salem. They didn't used to when I lived elsewhere, so that's nice.
Okay,
Um,
there we go.
but I don't know, so I might just have to stick with that. What about
I
you?
love that. I was a rapper in my 20s. I went by the Kid SB, and I was like touring up and down the West Coast. Put like five
Nice.
albums out, but took them all off Spotify because like I don't want my kids hearing this at all. There's still some songs that kind of linger, and like they'll
That's
play them, which is awesome. Like they know the words to a couple of them, which is the coolest thing ever
oh,
as a
that's sweet.
dad. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
this is we're not talking about Salem at all in this podcast, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
so one thing that did come up in council that kind of ties back was the fire chief was talking about kind of the role they played in this pretty high profile immigration arrest incident on Sunday at Mega Foods, and I can kind of debrief that a little. So as we've talked about this before on here, it's really hard to report on these because like the feds don't say anything, they don't respond to questions. I have emailed ICE and the Department of Homeland Security like 4 times since Sunday trying to get any information or corroborate what folks said. Anyway, so we keep at it, we tell people, but what we know is federal immigration officers were trying to arrest a man in the Mega Foods parking lot off of Lancaster Sunday morning. And according to advocacy groups who do like rapid response, so they, they'll see something that looks like an immigration arrest, they send people there to watch it and observe. They said he was injured during the arrest. We don't know how. I think folks arrived after he was already like in pain, screaming. Someone called 911. Fire showed up. He was taken to the hospital, treated there, and then now he's in the Tacoma Immigration Detention Center. So there were some questions because like one of the photos that the groups released showed what looked like a federal agent like hopping in the back of a city ambulance, and so that was what the fire chief was talking about because some people were asking questions about that. So the fire department's role is to like provide medical care in that situation. The city fire department also runs our ambulances, and so what Chief Gerbo said is like, we have a policy which is for our safety and patient safety. If someone is taken to the hospital in an ambulance and they're in custody, whether it's, U.S. Marshals, Salem Police, ICE, whatever, their policy requires the officer to ride in the ambulance with that person, because that person is usually handcuffed. And if there's a medical emergency, they need care, they need the officer who has the keys to the handcuff, because that's not medic's job. Their job is to provide the care. So that's what happened in this case. So there was an ICE officer riding to the hospital, or an immigration officer. You know, they're not like wearing labels, so we don't always know the exact agency. But that's because of that policy. So the department wasn't assisting in the immigration arrest or asking about this person's immigration status. That was kind of a separate aspect. But this got a lot of attention because this is the first reported case that we know of where someone was reportedly injured during an ICE arrest or an immigration arrest in Salem. And you know, we don't know a ton about this guy. You know, I don't know his immigration status. I don't know the basis he was taken into custody on, but we do know his name, and we, you know, looked up, and he's got no criminal history in Oregon, no federal criminal history that we could find. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I do want to quickly just elaborate a little bit on the housing code changes, and it sounds like this is a huge win for home builders and developers. There was someone from Home Builder Association at the meeting. A developer noted that a project they were working on would have required 8 land use code adjustments under current regulations. And the hard part with that is if you have a project that you know is going to need these code adjustments, you don't know if they're going to be approved or not. So you don't know if the project's going to be possible. So it makes it tough to invest and build something. So it sounds like the changes that are moving forward or been proposed would allow for it to be much simpler to build new housing. Currently, we have over 25% of our residents spend more than half of their income on rent, which labels us as a severely rent-burdened community. And hopefully this will lead to some options outside of apartment buildings, which I know people in Salem are kind of not happiest to see continue to pop up. So this could
Yeah.
provide some more flexibility there.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, it's been hard building out there too, just because of the cost of everything, and like the number of permits has slowed quite a bit this year. But
Yes. And then we have the Marion County is working on a project that is focused on the homeless camps in
Wallace Marine.
Wallace Marine Park, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of an odd one where Marion County is trying to get Polk County and the city of Salem together for like a joint task force, and Commissioner Danielle Bethel has been the one really leading this. You know, Wallace, for folks who don't know, folks have been living there, camping there kind of forever. I mean, not literally forever, but you know, like it's often where folks go when they don't have anywhere else to go. Um, it's, you know, during COVID, folks might recall there were 2 city parks where it was like, you can camp here, we're not going to sweep you, because we were trying to keep people stable and like not spread disease around and that kind of things when everyone was trying not to get COVID. So Wallace was one of those. And then officially in 2022, the city was like, all right, clear out, we're sweeping this. But in practice, like, there's still, you know, there's still people there. We don't really know how many. The last city count had about 200, I want to say. And
There was an estimate that was in the
yeah,
city council meeting. It was like 1,800 or something, I feel like. But I'm not sure where that data came from, so it might not be reliable.
yeah, no, it's like a couple hundred. I think 200
Okay.
is the latest estimate that we've got.
Okay.
And yeah, so essentially, Commissioner Bethel and Marion County are saying like, you know, yes, the park is in Polk County, but like most of the services these folks use, most of our homeless services in Salem are in Marion County, and this park is kind of a good focal point for trying to address this. So the Marion County hosted this big meeting about it last week. You know, Commissioner Colm Willis was expressing support for just like sweeping the whole camp. Police Chief Womack was a little less enthusiastic about that, because the big question for this is always like, I don't think there's anyone in Salem who thinks that like living at Wallace Marine is a great way to live, including the people who live there. And you know, my reporter Abby McDonald went out and spent quite a bit of time talking to folks about it. But the question is like, where do people go? Because you know, we've seen this a lot in Salem. Like, if you get a lot of folks together and you sweep a big camp and you don't have places, then folks will just move elsewhere and pop up elsewhere.
Yep.
And it doesn't really address the problem. It just kind of kicks the can down the road.
Totally.
Yeah, so this is all just getting started. There's kind of some anxiety among folks in the camp about like, there's a feeling that there's been more kind of sweeping lately and like some services are diminishing. There's concern about what's going to happen. And there's folks who are like, I don't want to live here, but as far as I know, I don't qualify for shelters or programs that are in Salem. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The city is expanding its homeless services team. That was part of the like kind of downtown livability package that counselors passed. So they'll be running 7 days a week now instead of 4. And city folks are hopeful that's going to let them do more because they try to go out in the camps and just kind of talk to people and build that trust to
Yeah.
get them into services, get them into places that are going to like long term help them out. So anyway, something we're keeping an eye on because it's a pretty big deal for Salem and kind of touches on a lot of the stuff people are worried about right now.
I love it. Well, Rachel, we always appreciate you being here with us on Wednesdays, helping us keep our community informed on what is going on. And I know your team at the Salem Reporter is always working hard, chasing beats, making sure that, we just know what's happening in our city. It's important. Local media is super important, and your team is doing a
Yeah.
good job.
Thank you, man. Back at you.
Appreciate you. Salem, have a good week. Thanks for being here.